Keith Urban, at the age of 57, is seated in a dark, quiet room. Throughout his extensive career, guitars and other mementos have been displayed on the walls. Something ominous hangs in the air with the serenity. He looks over to one of the guitars leaning against the wall. Lost in contemplation, he carelessly brushes his fingers along the strings. The mood of the room's music seemed to mirror his own inner turmoil. At once serene and tinged with intrigue, there has been a change today. Keith is prepared to speak up now. Even though his connection with Nicole Kidman is the most important thing in his life, he has opted to remain silent about it for years. Everyone has been curious about their romance from the beginning. However, in order to avoid the constant monitoring, Keith and Nicole have kept their lives under wraps. Keith, at 57 years old, sees how the stillness that was supposed to strengthen their bond has only served to deepen their miscommunication. What has been neglected for far too long needs to be addressed now. After all these years, Keith finally feels forced to tell Nicole the truth. In addition to her role as his wife, she has been there for him through thick and thin. When their romance first started, a flashback now takes place. Nicole and Keith's initial encounter. A charity event or a simple get-together with common friends could be the reason for the gathering. Keith looks across the room at Nicole. She captivates him with her subtle beauty and graceful demeanor. But there's something even more captivating about the look in her eyes. A connection is evident after only a few words exchanged, which are somewhat simple at first. As soon as they start laughing, Keith knows he's captivated. Nicole is wary, although she has the same draw. Relationships in the limelight aren't easy, as she knows from her time in the spotlight. Even more intriguing is the fact that Keith has an air of authenticity about him. Their decision to keep it hidden grows as their relationship progresses. No matter how much they care for one another, they are aware that their lives will be completely upended the second they go public, due to the unrelenting nature of the media. But it doesn't bother them. Something real, something worthy of protection was discovered. Even though they endure the silent years, the stresses of celebrity and public attention, and other hardships together, their friendship grows stronger over the years. Keith and Nicole are under ever-increasing pressure. The paparazzi follow them everywhere they go and scrutinize their every move. Despite their best efforts to keep their private lives out of the spotlight, the media's fixation on their connection appears to be growing. There have been highs and lows in Keith's career. Keith is dealing with his own problems at the same time that Nicole is climbing the Hollywood ladder and receiving prizes. He's still doing well, but her fame makes him feel invisible sometimes. Some people start to murmur, asking if they are happy, what their future holds, and if their relationship can handle the strain. Keith battles emotions of inadequacy when no one is looking. Feeling inadequate, he fights his own inadequacies. Strong, independent, and accomplished, Nicole is known to him. He can't help but question whether he's barely surviving in her absence. On the other hand, Keith doesn't tell anyone about his anxieties. He is reluctant to put any extra strain on Nicole, who already has a full plate with her professional life. Alternatively, Nicole does not waver. She remains steadfast in her support for Keith despite her knowledge of the challenges he is encountering. Regardless of his achievements or lack thereof, she remains there for him through thick and thin, telling him he is loved regardless. However, the gap widens between them as her own career progresses, a silence chasm caused by their unique obstacles. However, even when they don't speak, they still shield each other. At this juncture, Keith finally speaks up. The tipping point arrives subtly, almost unnoticed. Even though it's late, Keith is still hard at work at his studio. The lyrics aren't flowing readily as he gets ready to record a new album. His mind wanders to Nicole instead of composing music. He is finally moved to talk frankly about her after all these years. Along with the awareness that he can't remain silent any longer, the music and words appear to pour out of him. Even when no one else is there, he starts talking loudly. As he confesses, his voice somewhat breaks. The reality of his relationship with Nicole, including the difficulties they endured and the affection he feels for her. Rather than speak up, he has remained silent for far too long, he admits. However, he is now aware that he must speak out. In an exclusive interview, Keith offers to take a seat. He is prepared this time. He finally lets his guard down when it comes to Nicole. The difficulties of being famous, his love for her, and their early days together are all topics he covers. Silence, he explains, was never a sign of weakness but rather a means of safeguarding something valuable. I didn't want to come out as weak, so I kept quiet for a long time. As any couple would attest, though, Keith admits that they have had their share of problems. Still, I won't be embarrassed by that. Actually, it makes me proud since we've emerged stronger at the end. I've always wanted nothing more than for us to continue growing together. A peak of emotion. Keith opens up about his love and challenges. A further in-depth discussion ensues. When asked what has been the most challenging aspect of his relationship with Nicole, Keith pauses for thought before responding. When he thinks back to a moment when things were really bad, his voice becomes softer. Keith and Nicole appeared to be about to break up a few years ago. Their partnership seemed doomed to fail under the strain of their different occupations, the scrutiny of the public eye, and their individual struggles. Keith goes on to say that he came dangerously close to losing Nicole once. He became estranged from her because I was struggling with things that no one knew about. No matter how much he tried, Keith couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't good enough for her. I neglected how strong Nicole and I were together because I was so preoccupied with my own fears. He remembers an instance when Nicole unfailingly brought him back to his identity. She adored him for who he was as a person, not for his celebrity or fortune. According to Keith, that was a pivotal moment. Nicole assured me that her love for me was unrelated to my professional success and that she saw me for who I was. For our sakes as much as mine, I realized then that I had to stand up and fight. Keith owns up to his errors and blunders. He isn't without flaws. Although he hasn't always been the ideal partner and has erred, he is eternally thankful to Nicole for her unfaltering encouragement. She is incredibly important to me. I remain silent, but she has been by my side the entire time. I am not embarrassed to admit it. I have always loved her and I still love her. Ultimately, the storm strengthened the friendship between Keith and Nicole. After finishing the interview, Keith pauses to think about what he has just said. His expression is one of relief. He no longer feels obligated to speak out after years of being silent. A burden has been removed from his shoulders. A few weeks ago, he remembers a peaceful moment. They watched the sun go down from their porch, just the two of them. Just the two of them, lost in their own little universe, unaccompanied by any prying eyes or cameras. Keith said to Nicole as he held her hand, "I'm so relieved we survived that. We're more powerful than I could have ever guessed." After a brief exchange of smiles and head nods, Nicole said, "Me too." That one seemingly insignificant moment meant the world. They had persevered through thick and thin, and their bond had grown stronger with each passing trial. Final remarks. An anthem for love and perseverance. Keith relaxes. He was beaming with happiness. Thinking back on their progress, he and Nicole achieved so much. Along the way, they have encountered the challenges, the silence, and the expectations of celebrity. Nevertheless, they have remained committed to one another. Love isn't easy. Keith remarks in his last thoughts, it necessitates a great deal of quiet at times and is untidy and complex. Silence, however, does not indicate that we are not battling. If we're defending something worthwhile, it's worth fighting for. Fans of Keith's music and anyone who has ever dealt with the intricacies of love will find resonance in his comments. Everyone can understand him. Having each other's backs through thick and thin is a hallmark of true love. In the end, that's what gives it substance.